In recent years, I've really found myself drawn to games that focus on mercenaries or mercenary bands that work their way up from struggling to survive to being able to thrive. WarTales is such a game, and I've spent over 25 hours in this game so far, playing it in my free time. But it's just too good an experience to keep to myself, so I wanted to make a video explaining my new obsession and why I am playing WarTales. WarTales is essentially a medieval mercenary life simulator where you must take on jobs in order to gain fame and fortune to pay for your meals, equipment, and obtain better jobs. You start out with a group of 4 mercenaries just getting started, and you can choose the makeup of this group from several choices which include farmers looking for a better life, deserters from the army, or even bandits, among others. This choice will then affect what classes your starting mercenaries will have, along with a few bonuses or penalties, such as starting with some extra food or influence, or modifiers to the group's happiness. Once you pick your starting group, you can then modify their appearance and starting skills, and then you're given the option of playing with level scaling on, or using world-based scaling where each region will have a set difficulty. I like having this choice as I prefer to play games where I can wander into dangerous areas I'm not prepared for. I think this encourages exploration because you need to spend more time exploring each region to become stronger, rather than just running through story content and missing some of the best parts of the game. But for those who prefer level scaling, that option is there. Each region has its own problems for your mercenaries to solve. In the starting region, you'll have to decide whether to help refugees fleeing a war in a neighboring country, or to help the local authorities kick them out or lock them up. This first example here shows how well the game sets up moral ambiguity. While helping the refugees may seem like the right thing to do, most of them have also become bandits, killing and stealing to survive. That said, the local authorities, while trying to maintain order and keep the locals safe, have also forced the refugees into the position they now find themselves due to the strain on resources the refugees bring with them. As mercenaries, it's up to you to decide whose coin to take. It all spins the same. Besides the plot missions of each region, though, there are several quests that can be discovered by just exploring. For instance, you can come across a farm where a man was caught stealing food for bandits. You can choose to kill the bandits, or you can choose to help the bandits free their man. Adding to the moral dilemma here is the man's wife, who is caught up in the middle of this whole thing, not knowing that her husband's new friends were bandits. There are many of these quests to come across, and each one feels like a real situation with real stakes. All the NPCs involved are fully voice acted too, which helps to bring the game to life even more. Other than these plot and exploration quests, though, there is also the good old job board at the local inn. This is the bread and butter of your mercenary group's career, where you'll get missions to track down various targets and eliminate them, clear out bandit camps and rat nests, or take on the regional boss fight. Each of these missions' descriptions will give you the difficulty of the task, along with the pay you'll get for completing it. As you advance, you'll eventually be able to use your influence, which is essentially another resource in the game, to negotiate higher pay for each job. You can also accept multiple missions at once and come back to collect your pay after completing one or all of them. The game's core loop of taking a job, exploring a bit on your way to the objective, fighting in a turn-based battle, and then returning to earn your pay, upgrade equipment, and rest feels really good. Even though you're essentially running the same loop, it gets changed up enough, particularly if you're heading in a direction you haven't been, or if you've just recently leveled up some of your mercenaries, or have gotten them new equipment. This core loop is supported, though, by several progression systems that also keep you invested in the game. For instance, there is a sort of achievement system in the game called paths, where as you accomplish certain tasks, you're given points to spend on various perks for your mercenary band, like the ability to negotiate your rate for jobs, as I mentioned earlier. In addition to this is your camp, which can be improved over time by learning to craft new equipment for it, such as a cooking pot, tent, or hitching post for your ponies, which will all provide perks for your company after each rest. Each of your mercenaries can also level up in a profession, such as angler, woodcutter, miner, or thief, just to name a few. The more a mercenary performs work in their profession, the more materials can be gathered from resource areas like mines, or the more that can be pilfered without being caught. Finally, there is the actual character progression as each mercenary levels up. At level 2, a mercenary can pick a specialization based on their class. Then, at certain levels thereafter, they get to choose from 3 different passive or active skills to add to their abilities. Every level will also net them a stat increase, which you will get to choose from 3 options. Further progression can be obtained by equipping your mercenaries with better gear, as not only does this provide better damage and armor stats, but weapons all come with their own skills too. These different skills on each weapon can make a huge difference and make you consider keeping a lower base damage weapon in order to keep its skill. Weapons can have different attack areas as well. For example, a great axe may hit a 360-degree arc, while a great sword may only hit an area half that size. Or a dagger may only be able to hit one target. One of my rogue characters has a dagger with a throwing skill that allows him to both disengage and hit the 3 closest targets. This then brings us to the battles. As mentioned earlier, these are turn-based tactical battles with a high focus on turn order. I say this because this game allows you to lock down opponents by engaging them in combat. Once a character is directly attacked, they cannot leave that engagement without suffering an opportunity attack. This means that by studying the turn order, you can decide who on your team needs to be where to lock down the most dangerous enemy units. I usually find the enemy archers and try to lock them down early, as some of these have fire AoE attacks that set my characters ablaze, slowly killing them during the battle. Then I focus on tying down the heavy hitters with my heavies so that my lighter armored units don't get overwhelmed by them. After considering turn order, you then need to consider the best place for your units with AoE to be. These guys are most effective when you can run them into a group of 2 or 3 enemies obviously, and hit them all without hitting any of your own units, as friendly fire is possible here. Speaking of which, you also need to be mindful of the position of your archers, as without a clear shot, you'll just hit your own people. As mentioned earlier, you'll use your unit's various skills to engage in battle, most of which will cost you valor points, except for the most basic attack skills. Valor points are only replenished during rests, so if you go on fighting too many battles in one day, you'll become less and less effective. Though some valor points can be obtained during battle based on the different skills and perks each mercenary has picked up. As far as what is possible with all the different skills, some are direct attacks while some are area attacks, and still others provide the mercenary or their teammates with various buffs. Some attack skills, such as those on spears, also force enemies to disengage or can interrupt prepared attacks. Some of these skills can also push enemies, meaning you can force them into hazards or the prepared attack of an ally. It is also possible to inflict status effects like poison or burning to damage over time, but you have to be careful with burning, as the fire will actually spread to adjacent units, and this includes units the burning one engages with. Now that we've covered the combat, I want to talk about just a few other things that have kept me playing WarTales. First off, there is no limit to how big your mercenary crew can grow, at least not that anyone has discovered. I've heard of groups as big as 30, while some people prefer to keep their band smaller. Personally, I have 11 fighters and 3 ponies to carry all of our stuff. This freedom, though, to choose your own limit to your band's population is really cool, and so far I've been able to deploy all of them in battle. As you progress in the game, the enemy bands you fight tend to get bigger, so it's a good idea to keep pace either in the size of your company or the level of your companions. There are also 10 total professions, so having at least 10 companions is necessary if you want to have each profession available to you. Speaking of professions, one of the most important is the blacksmith. Your blacksmith can craft new weapons and armor for your crew, and these tend to be better than most of what you can find in the world. Though it takes time to both learn the recipes for new equipment and gather the materials to craft it. The second tier of weapons and armor will have you hunting the ghost animals that can appear at night for special materials. These battles can be especially challenging and interesting due to the terror mechanic that these ghosts inflict. If too much terror stacks on a unit, it will flee in fear, meaning you will have to finish these battles quickly or everyone will run away. Finally, there is this cool exploration mechanic that feels like a dungeon crawl, where you explore ancient tombs and solve puzzles in order to gain access to unique loot and knowledge that can improve your company. While exploring these tombs, you will need to bring torches or else you won't be able to explore them in the first place, and if you run out of light while exploring, your band will have to escape the ruins in the dark and may take damage in the process. You can also have encounters in these tombs where you have to fight in the dark. This will force you to equip at least a couple of your units with torches so that you can see and find your enemy. There are many more tidbits and information about the game that I just don't have time to cover here, but needless to say, this one has grabbed my attention. I originally picked it up during its early access days and only dabbled in it. I remember it being pretty difficult back then, but now that it's had its full release, it's developed into a strong tactical RPG with multiple difficulty options. As I said, this one really feels like you're leading a band of mercenaries just trying to make their way in the world. You can explore as much or as little as you want, and you can make money in multiple ways. You can even be a trader if you want, though I haven't done this myself. You can also choose to capture bandits and take them to prison for a reward. With so many options and freedom, WarTales is a great sandbox to spend your time in. I hope you enjoyed learning why this game is my most recent time sink. This video is a little different from my normal system as it really sits somewhere in between a true review and an impressions video. It was more about I just like this game and I wanted to share my thoughts on it with you guys. So if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by leaving a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Would you like to see more content on WarTales, such as tips, videos, or guides? Let me know. If you want to see more tactical RPG content, I've got this video I made for you. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and keep on gaming.